Very good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the current affairs class. I hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to cover 14th to 16th March CA. Let's begin with the discussion. First segment, ESI Finance and Business News. The first news which we have is India to become world's third largest economy. It has been predicted by Morgan Stanley. So this is projection by Morgan Stanley. So according to this report by the global financial services firm Morgan Stanley, India will be becoming world's third largest economy by 2028. Just a second. Right, so third largest economy, remember, and it is projected that India will be overtaking Germany in this row. And Indian economy is also projected to expand to $4.7 trillion by 2026. So Morgan Stanley says by 2026 we would be around $4.7 trillion of economy. This is the thing. Then next news. Apple has introduced a new app called Surveyor. So remember, the name of the app is Surveyor. Apple has launched this app Surveyor. It is designed to collect real world mapping data to enhance the accuracy and detail of Apple Maps. So basically real world data it would be working upon. It would be collecting real world data Apple Maps की accuracy को improve करने के लिए. So the app is Surveyor app, remember. Next is very important. Remember this one. Starting from April 1, 2025, GST system is set to witness a major change as input service distributor mechanism will be made mandatory. ISD, input service distributor, ISD. This is going to be mandatory for all the GST registered businesses, right? So under GST mechanism, this is going to be mandatory. Now, what is ISD? You need to understand ISD. Also remember the implementation date. Implementation date is 1st April 2025. April 2025. See, ISD क्या है? Let me explain you in say with an example. Otherwise, it would be difficult to understand. ISD, input service distributor. Now try to understand with this example. Suppose there is this company XYZ. Company registered under GST, operating, right? Now it has two branches. Suppose one is in Mumbai and the other one is in, say, Chennai, right? Two branches are there, two offices it has, Mumbai and Chennai. Now what happens is, suppose this is acquiring certain inputs, raw material. Now under GST, you already know there is a mechanism of ITC, input, tax, credit. What is input, tax, credit? That whatever input पे जो भी आपने GST दिया है, it would be credited back to you. That is input tax credit, right? And that can be utilized for further GST payments or obligations. This is ITC. You know already what is ITC. So suppose XYZ ने कुछ input purchase किए, उस पे XYZ has paid say 10,000 rupees as GST. 10,000 rupees as GST. Now, इसको claim करेगा? Yes or no? This is ITC. It can be claimed by XYZ. What happens is it would have to register itself as ISD. So this XYZ now from 1st April 2025 will have to register itself as ISD, and whatever amount like 10,000 in this example has been claimed as ITC will be distributed to these branches. Depending कि इस input का इन्होंने कितना utilization किया है, right? तो suppose Mumbai branch has utilized 60% of it. or Chennai branch has utilized 40% of it. So accordingly, it will be distributed. So there will be a central mechanism, centralized mechanism, which is XYZ would be ISD. It would be distributing the proceeds of the ITC to the respective branches of the company. This entire mechanism is input service distributor. So it will be distributing the proceeds. I hope this is clear. Tell me everyone, yes or no? ISD. Clear, right? So this mechanism is called ISD, what we were discussing about. Now it would be mandatory. Since I have explained you, there is no need to go through these lines now. So 1st April 2025, it is going to be mandatory. The next news we have is the state-owned SAIL recently has planned to more than double the capacity of its Rourkela steel plant. So Rourkela steel plant जो है उड़ीसा में, उसकी capacity they are planning to double to around 9 million tons per annum at an investment of 30,000 crores. So SAIL is planning to expand its Rourkela steel plant. The next one is Standard Chartered. Standard Chartered has raised 1 billion euros through the issuance of first social bond. इन्होंने social bond issue किया है. What is social bond? So this social bond basically will mobilize the fund to support sustainable development projects in the emerging market economies. जो भी आपकी emerging market economies हैं, उनमें sustainable development project को they will be funding with the fund raised through the bonds. Also, out of the total, about 50% would be allocated for India for sustainable projects. So that is going to be important because 50% of the fund would be allocated for India in sustainable projects. The next one is Amazon and Google. They have signed an agreement to support goal of at least tripling the world's nuclear energy capacity by 2050 on the sidelines of CERAWeek conference in Houston. So basically you need to remember who has signed this agreement. Amazon and Google. Amazon as well as Google have signed this. By 2050, they want to at least increase world's nuclear capacity by 3 times. And the famous shale company Occidental and chemical giant Dow have also added their names to the pledge. So these are important players because nuclear energy is the future. So remember the thing. Now moving on to regulatory bodies news. RBI recently has imposed penalties on JM Financial Products and Experian Credit Information Company because of certain regulatory non-compliance. So JM Financial Products pay almost 3.1 lakh penalty, non-compliance with the provisions related to NBFCs. Systemically important NBFCs ki guidelines they have not complied with. Then Experian Credit Information Company has faced 2 lakh rupees penalty for non-compliance with specific regulatory provisions for certain provisions regarding, credit information companies, because you know that it is one of them. So these were the penalties. Now next one is SEBI recently has widened the ambit of the scope of unpublished price sensitive information UPSI. So there are certain information which can manipulate the market. You know the concept of unpublished price sensitive information. So any information which has a potential to disrupt or manipulate the financial market, right, favoring certain group of investors is UPSI. So now it has expanded the definition. How? By including any proposed fundraising activity agreements that can impact the management or control of a company. किसी भी company का ऐसा कोई fundraising project has been announced which can actually impact the management or control of the company, any restructuring plans from a company, or one-time bank settlements coming from a company. All these would also be considered as unpublished price-sensitive information (UPSI). This is to enhance clarity, ensure transparency, reduce and eliminate manipulation in the market, right? And remember, these new rules would be coming into force from June 10, 2025. So 10th of June 2025, they will be into force. Also, any action initiated, any order passed within India or abroad by a regulatory, statutory, enforcement authority or judicial body against the company or its directors, key managerial personnel, promoters, subsidiaries would be considered as UPSI, because ऐसा कोई भी order अगर किसी company के against pass होता है तो वो company, that order has, a potential to manipulate the market, to disrupt the normal functioning. So they will also be considered as UPSI. Remember that. The next one is RBI recently has set up a dedicated on-tap cohort. On-tap cohort. What is this on-tap cohort? On-tap cohort on climate change risk. Basically, climate change risk के लिए जो आपका regulatory sandbox है, which promotes innovation experiments, right? So this cohort specifically, which is on tap, it will be targeting climate related risks. It would be promoting innovation in such projects which address recent climate related risks and challenges, and which also include credit, market and operational risk. Climate change की वजह से there are looming risks on the banking system also, right? Credit risk है, operational risk है, lot of risks are there. So any such innovation which has a potential to reduce such kind of risks, to come up with innovative solutions, is basically what on-tap cohort will be dealing with. So please remember, this has been launched by RBI. The next one is banking news segment. The LIC, now this is going to be very important to remember. LIC, Life Insurance Company, Life Insurance Corporation of India, then New India Assurance Company and GIC Re. Three of them, they have retained their position as domestic systemically important insurers. Domestic systemically important insurers. Domestic systemically important insurers क्या है? They are large enough to impact the entire industry. Right? They have systemic importance. That means if something happens to them, the entire insurance system can get affected. So these are domestic systemically important insurers. In तीनों को tag मिला है. Remember LIC, then New India Assurance Company and GIC Re. All of these names are important for 24-25. Then next one is Canara Bank recently has proposed to raise up to 4,000 crores through Basel III compliant tier 2 bonds. Basel III के according you have to maintain tier 1 and tier 2 capital. Tier 2 में you have certain bonds which can be capped. तो जो Basel III compliant bonds हैं उसके through the Canara Bank has proposed to raise up to 4,000 crore rupees. Remember this. It would be rated AAA or stable rating है इसकी from CRISIL as well as CARE ratings. Then next one is SBI Mutual Fund recently has launched two new open-ended schemes. दो new open-ended schemes launch की हैं, tracking the performance of BSE PSU Bank Index. So इसको they will be tracking. That means it is a passive fund. Passive fund क्या होता है? Which is tracking the performance of the index fund. It does not tries to surpass that. So this is kind of a passive fund. Remember, has been launched by SBI Mutual Fund. It would be tracking the performance of BSE PSU Bank Index. These are SBI BSE PSU Bank Index Fund and SBI BSE PSU Bank ETF. March 17 पे it will be opening up and it closes on March 20. Then next one is UPI recently has witnessed 5.2% decline in transaction volume in February. But still you see, despite the dip, PhonePe, Google Pay, Paytm, they continue to dominate the market and UPI is still the most preferred method of online transactions. You know that, right? So what you can remember from the news is top UPI players in the correct order. So first one is PhonePe, second is Google Pay, third is Paytm, fourth is Supermoney and Cred. So remember this thing. And recently Supermoney has also made its debut in the top 5 UPI apps, which is Flipkart's Fintech app. Right? So Supermoney is also there. Top 3 के नाम you need to remember: PhonePe, Google Pay and Paytm. Next one is IRDAI recently has approved first reinsurance license to a private player. This can also be important. First time to a private player, reinsurance license has been approved by IRDAI, which is Velotics Reinsurance, backed by Prem Vatsa and Kamesh Goyal. So This is Veliotics Reinsurance. Remember the name. Recently has got approval to work in reinsurance as a private player. The next one is HDFC Mutual Fund now holds over 5% stake in IndusInd Bank. This can be important because you know recently what is happening with the IndusInd Bank, right? So this can be important. HDFC Mutual Fund now holds over 5% stake in the IndusInd Bank after it has acquired 1.592 million additional shares from the market. So total holding of HDFC Mutual Fund in IndusInd Bank has reached almost 5.02. So over 5%, you can remember that. That's it from 14th to 16th March, Banking and Finance CA. Now it's time for the top 5 MCQs. There were certain important news which I have explained you in detail. So please remember them. Now let's discuss the top 5 MCQs here. First question. Which of the following has retained the domestic systemically important insurer tag for 24-25? Okay, just a second. So tell me. Yeah, remember the names, all of them, right? All of them. Life Insurance Corporation, New India Assurance Company, and GIC Re. All of them. So D would be the correct option. Next question. HDFC Mutual Fund now holds over how much percent of stake in the IndusInd Bank after recent acquiring of lot of shares? That is over 5%, right? Over 5%. Option B is the correct one here. Over 5%. Next one. Major companies like Amazon and which of the following have recently signed a pledge to support tripling of world's nuclear energy capacity by 2050? Amazon and which of the famous giant have signed the agreement for nuclear energy? Very good. Amazon and Google. Right? Option C, Amazon as well as Google. Next question. Apple recently has introduced a new app designed to collect real-world mapping data to enhance the accuracy of the Apple Maps. Which of the following is the name of the app? Yeah, so the name of the app is? Very good. Surveyor, right? Option D. Surveyor. Then, which of the following recently has launched 2 new open-ended schemes tracking the performance of BSE PSU Bank Index? Kind of a passive fund. किसने launch किया है? So it has been launched by SBI Mutual Fund, right? SBI Mutual Fund. Now, this is your learning exercise. From 1st April 2025, GST system is set to witness a major change because which of the following mechanism will be made mandatory under GST? So this is your question. Which of the following is going to be mandatory from 1st April 2025 under GST? You need to tell me the answer in the comment section, everyone, right? So tell me the answer in the comment section. I have explained you with the example. Last question in the last class was SEBI recently has reduced the processing time of rights issue, right? To how many days? So it has reduced the time for rights issue of equity to 23 days. You all have provided the right answer. Raj, Shekhar, Girish, all of you, 23 days. I appreciate you for the answers. So that's it for today's session. Do you have any doubts from today's class? आज की क्लास से what was important was ISD, right? तो ISD mechanism, I hope okay, Girish. See, before the class, like day before, if you provide me the answers, it will be there for you. So I know some of you are regular in answering. I really appreciate. That is going to help you only in the exam. तो ये भी याद रखना आपको, इंपॉर्टेंट इन्फॉर्मेशन है, और जो आज हमने ISD पढ़ा है दैट इज गोइंग टू बी इंपॉर्टेंट एज वेल. एनी डाउट्स फ्रॉम टुडे सेशन? All right then, thank you so much for staying tuned. I'll see you in the next session. Have a great day.